Hello and good morning, good afternoon and a very good evening to you, the good people of Tube. Hope today we're feeling grand and all is well in your world. Hello there everybody. Welcome to another Q&A Wednesday everybody. So let's dive into question 1 today. So question 1 today is, do you like the Yamaha SGs and have you ever played one? I do like them but I've never played one. I don't know if I've answered this question before, but I've seen a lot about for sale, but I've never actually played one myself. I don't think. I'm pretty sure I haven't. But I've seen a lot about. Because they're really quite. Because I've always liked them. I first saw them when I saw Ian Thornley of Big Wreck playing a white one. He was playing a white Yamaha SG. And it looked amazing. And then there was obviously Phil X as well. Phil X was using them for a while. And then obviously, later on, John Frusciante got into using them as well. After he left the Chili Peppers, he got into playing the SGs. I think they're called the S400 or something like that. I don't know. But no, I've never played one, but I do like them. I do like the look of them. I like a weird cross between a Les Paul and an SG. So you got the SG shape, but the Les Paul thickness, and it's quite cool. I'm intrigued by them definitely, but like I say, the price of them is so out of my range. It's just it'd be impossible to own one, sadly. But maybe one day I'll get my dirty, disgusting hands on one. But they are really cool, and they do have a really cool sound. The sound that Ian Thornley got out of his, I was watching him do a song called Mistake. Excuse me. And it's just this really heavy sound, and I just love that. It's really grungy and really dark, and it just really appealed to me. And I was like, that's a really awesome sound, really, really cool. So yeah, maybe one day I'll be able to get my little disgusting little hands on a Yamaha SG, because they are really awesome looking guitars. I love the white one that Ian Thornley had. I think Phil X had a white one as well with P90s. Well, one P90, and there was nothing in the neck. But I really like the look of the white one. I think John had a cherry burst one, I think. I forget. I wasn't really... Because John's music, when he's gone into electronics music, is not really appealing to me. I don't really pay attention to that as much as his earlier stuff. So I don't really remember. But I think he had a purple one and a cherry sunburst one. I forget offhand. But they are really cool looking guitars, and I'm really intrigued by them. I've seen 2 up for sale recently near me, but it's they're about 800, 900 quid, and it's well, I haven't got that kind of money. So it's but I would love to try one at some point. They're really cool. You also asked, what do you think to the album Enclosure by John Frusciante? Enclosure is probably one of my favourite of John's electronic kind of albums. I really liked a lot of Enclosure. I actually got it over there on my CDs. I really liked Enclosure. I liked it more than Le Tour and also kind of PBX and some of the others. I forget the name of the other one, but I did I enjoyed Enclosure more than those two. There was a lot more on it that I could get into. There was a lot more that I appealed to me, musically, than kind of some of the other stuff that John did on say PBX. Some of PBX I didn't particularly like. Le Tour I couldn't get into at all. There was bits, but not the whole album, and it never really appealed to me that much. It's a really cool album. I do love the album. I love the artwork as well. I've got the poster on my wall there, but it never really stuck with me. Whereas Enclosure really had something else. It was the same kind of thing, but there was something in it. I don't know. I enjoyed it more, and I still kind of listen to Enclosure rarely. It's not knocking on the back door of Inside of Emptiness or Shadows Collide or Neandra or anything like that. It's certainly not knocking on the back door of them. But every now and again, it's I do feel like just laying down and putting that on, and just getting a bit lost in it, which is really quite nice. So yes, so that was a really quick answer, wasn't it? Crikey, about 5 minutes. That was a really quick answer. No tangent there. Gravy. Okay, so I hope that's this question. I'm going to move on to question 2 now. Question 2 is, what's your view on big power, high headroom amps? I really love high power amps. I love 100 watt amps. I don't really like lower wattage amps. In all fairness, I think the only amp I've ever liked that was low power, apart from a Fender Princeton, is the Boss Katana 50. Because that thing responds more like 100 watt. It's got loads of headroom and it's just really, really loud and really big, and I really like that. It really appeals to me. But there was a Fender Princeton we had in Old Hat, which I think was, I forget, something like 25 watts, or is it 18 or 15 watts actually? Was it 15 watts? I forget. It was an old tweed Princeton, and it was amazing. It was really, really nice. And then the speaker blew on it. The original speaker blew on it, and it never sounded the same after we replaced the speaker. It's never as good, which is a bit of a shame, really. I think the speaker that got replaced with wasn't that great. I think it was a bit of a, like, you know, compared to the original speaker, I don't think the speaker that was in there afterwards was any good. It didn't do the amp any favours, and I stopped playing through it shortly after, actually. The speaker, when we got it, must have just been on its last legs, and we just pushed it over the edge. But Norman had loads of replacement old Jensen speakers. I think that's what was in it, a Jensen speaker. I don't know. I don't remember. It's a long time ago now. And it was just an ace little amp. And I can't remember the wattage of it. If anybody knows what the wattage of a tweed Princeton is, let me know, because I forgot. But that was a really nice low-powered amp. The Boss Katana, like I say, is probably my favourite low-powered amp, because it just still responds and pushes like 100 watt. But to me, I love 100 watt amps. I use 100 watt amps all the time. Like my MGs, my CR120, you know, my Boss Katana 100s. Oh, by the way, everybody, quick thing to note while I'm talking about Boss Katana 100s. A lot of people said, why don't you try factory resetting your Katana, your Mark II? Because it wasn't a bad sound that it had, but it wasn't great. You know, it wasn't inspiring me. Anyway, I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. I know what my settings are, so okay, why not? And, you know, just delve about, factory resetted the Mark II, and the thing came alive. So I'm going to leave it for about another couple of weeks, and let me play through it a bit more and really kind of, like, you know, just live with it for a while. And then I'm going to do another comparison between the Mark 1 and the Mark 2. Because at this point in time, although it sounds better than it did, and I don't really know why the factory reset did that. I don't really understand why that would make the amp sound better, but yeah, I don't know. It just did all of a sudden. I was like, that sounds better. You know, when you kind of like, you're playing through something, it's like, yeah, that sounds good, and then you do something and it's like, that's it. You know, it sounded better. I mean, it still doesn't. I still don't think it sounds as good as the Mark 1 personally, but it does sound a lot more in the ballpark. So yeah, just a bit of a wee tangent off there, just to tell you that, because that's cool. But I say I'm not going to jump back in and do a comparison straight away. I'm going to kind of let the amp kind of like settle for a bit longer first, and then I'll do another kind of a re-comparison, if you will, in like a couple of weeks, and we'll have another listen, and we'll see what happens, because like I say, it does sound better, and I am using it more than the Mark 1, but I'm using it more than the Mark 1 because I want it to get, you know, more broken in. And I do keep playing for it going, you know what I mean? It's not quite where the Mark 1 is, you know, and I do keep doing that, and it's kind of like, It's a really awesome sound though now. It's weird. It's absolutely weird. So for the people who asked me to factory reset it, thank you for your advice so much, because that just actually has made the world a difference, which is really weird, and I didn't expect anything from it. I was like, oh, I'll give it a go. I've got nothing to lose, so I thought, why not? You know, anything I can do to make Sam try and sound better, I'll try it. Because it was just, I had it downstairs, and I was just playing for it, and I was like, this is just not there. And then one night, about a couple of days ago, I don't remember when, I just thought, oh, why not? I'll factory reset it. And all of a sudden, the amp just kind of like started to breathe, and I was like, you know, it was like a light on moment. You know, it was really cool. So yeah, anyway, tangent over. Let's go back to the question. So yeah, big high-powered headroom amps. Yeah, I mean, I love that. I like my MGs. I like my SCR20s. I love my 100-watt Boss Katanas. And I like running them clean at loud volumes. You know what I mean? I don't like breakup. I mean, when I used to have my small box Marshall Plexi, I had it biased so that thing wouldn't break up until it was about 8 or 10 on the volume control. It was clean all the way up to about 7 or 8 because I had it biased really cold. Because I wanted the headroom, I wanted the clean headroom. I wanted it to kind of like, because I get all my sounds from my pedals. I wanted the amp to be super, super clean and just give me loads of volume and power. Granted, it had too much of that, and it was a case of like tapping the volume controls to break through volume at a gig, and even then that was too loud. And sometimes you'd be asked to turn down. You'd be like, I actually can't. It won't go any lower, And that's the thing I've always loved about Plexis is they just they're just loud. No matter what you do, they're just in your face and they're loud and they're glorious. And like I say, one day I'd love to own an original Plexi. I really would love to own it. It's one of those kind of like, I'm not going to be upset if I don't, but it'd be nice to. You know what I mean? In all fairness, it's the only valve amp I really look at and go, I would really want one of them. You know what I mean? Even more so than the Silver Jubilee. Although I do love the Jubilee, the Plexi still trumps it slightly to me. I just love the Plexi. And again, coming back to the question again, because I've tangent here. I do love that clean headroom. I just love the amp to be really big and powerful and loud, so I can just kind of run it super, super clean and just get everything from pedals. I just find amps respond better when they're with pedals anyway. When they run that way, I've always done that. I've always had my I've always done things that way where I've run the amp clean and just used pedals to just push the amp a bit further. I say either with a jackhammer or the Golden Plexi or a tube screamer for a while. I used the tube screamer for quite a while doing that kind of thing. But I love it personally. I love 100-watt amplifiers. I don't really like low-powered amps. I don't because I don't feel the need to crank them. Because I get everything from pedals. I don't really ever want to wind those things up. I don't like the amp to distort. I don't like to I like to get my sound from pedals. You know what I mean? That's I've always done that and always enjoyed doing that. And I don't know. I just like it a little bit more than that. But yeah, so I do like I like that a lot more, and it's just something that I've always done and I've always enjoyed. And I love big 100-watt amplifiers. There's something about it. There's just something about the sound, even when they run quiet. Like for instance, when I'm playing intro jams in the Cove, I've only got the MG on 1.5. You know what I mean? It's not loud by any stretch of imagination. Like when I used to gig the MGs, I would never get them above 4. Because 3 or 4 was like a really good volume live for the MGs, because that was a super, super loud. And, it was, I never got it above that. I never needed to push it any further than that. So when I'm doing intros, it's say 1.5. It's just really, really quiet. And, it's not really, really quiet, but it's not like deafening volume, and it's not a whisper. It's kind of like a nice kind of level. If you shouted, you could hear over the top, and you could probably just about hear talking over the top of it, but not really, if that makes any sense. But like I say, I've always loved the 100-watt amps. I like that clean headroom that they give, and I love the sound. 100-watt amps sound different, and they feel different to me than low-powered amps. Like I say, the only small amp I've ever played through that makes me feel like I'm still playing 100-watt is the Boss Katana 50. Other than that, I've tried a lot of small amplifiers, AC15s, like I say, old Princetons, newer deluxes, and all sorts of like small wattage amplifiers, but they never quite do what 100 watts do. And I've always loved the 100-watt amplifiers more. I've always just gravitated towards 100 watts, and it's just for that headroom more than anything. 100 watt. I mean, because I don't know, but people say 100 watts, like it doesn't necessarily mean it's louder than an AC30 or this, that, and the other. Because in all fairness, an AC30 when it's cranked to the teeth is easily as loud as a Marshall Plexi. Well, not quite, but you know what I mean. It's not far off, because AC30s cranked are deafening. They really are so powerful, those things, for 30 watt. And the thing about a Marshall Plexi is once you get to a certain level, they stop being loud and just break up more. You know, the 68 Super Bass we had in Old Hat, which I absolutely adored. And like, you know, if I could have afforded it, I would have had it in an instant. Even with its inconsistent tone, I would have still had that amp. But that amp was, because we never used to run that on anything other than maxed out or on 8. You know what I mean? It was we never ran it any lower than that in the shop. It was always really loud. You know, we apart from a couple of times where we ran it super clean and played around with it super clean with pedals, and that was cool. But when we were messing around and jamming about, and there's a few videos of us me and John jamming about, and I was going through the Super Bass. It just breathes at that volume, and it is loud. And it is like, oh, and it sends you into a different dimension because it makes you all dizzy and it's wicked. And it just it gives you a bit of a high. It's really, really cool. Plexis give you, you know, loud amps in general give you a bit of a high, I think. They just kind of like, they kick your adrenaline in and just kind of make you go a bit kind of like, you know, like, you know, like that. It's a very safe high, but it's a high nonetheless. And it's really, really cool. And that's what the 68 Super Bass did. It was loud and really raw, but it wasn't, you know, you could play through it for a good 45 minutes to an hour cranked up, and it was loud, and you definitely feel it afterwards in your ears. Your ears would be like shot. Even wearing earplugs, you know, it was loud. But you could get away with that wearing earplugs with it, you know, because the sound was so... It was dead low endy because it's obviously a Super Bass, but it was never really kind of like in your face and ripping your face off. Like some of the old Fenders I tried when they were dimed out with just like a Tremolux would just rip your ears to shreds because it was just so trebly. Whereas the Super Bass was always really warm and smooth and really rich sounding, and it was really, really pleasant, and it was just really, really nice. And again, big 100 watt amplifier, awesome, absolutely gorgeous. God, I really missed that amp. Out of all the amps I've played, out of all the amps I got to play in Old Hat, that is definitely the one. I to this day I look back and go, I really miss playing through that amp. It's the same about 77 Strat. I was just like, I just miss it. You know what I mean? It's funny to say about like things like that, but it was kind of something that I was drawn to, and it pulled me in, and you know, it was really nice. And yeah, it did frustrate me sometimes when it would just like sound great, and then all of a sudden 1 second it'd sound great, next second it'd sound like cack. But you know, when it sounded great, good gravy, did it sound awesome. You know, it really was one of those things. But yeah, so yeah. Anyway, back to the question again. Tangent time. I knew it wasn't. I knew the non-tangent thing was never going to last. Anyway, but yeah, my opinion on the high power headroom amps, I just love them. I love it. I love 100 watt amps. I'll always prefer 100 watt amps over small wattage. And especially because I use pedals all the time, it just makes me a lot happier. You know, it makes pedals respond better, I think, personally. If you've got a powerful amp, even running quiet, for some reason I reckon it sounds better. So you also asked, besides your beloved MG, have you come across any amp that exceeded your expectations? Yeah, two. The Marshall, Orange CR120 and the Boss Katana. Those two amps. The CR120, I saw, there was a demo on Anderton's channel when the CR120 came out, and I saw it there, and I was like, oh, that looks interesting. And then I tried one, and I was like, wow, I need one of these. You know, and then when I bought the Boss Katana 50, I was like, holy monkeys, you know, this is something else, you know. So, yeah, so other than my MG, those two amps are the ones that really have made me go. You know, there have been others that have wowed me. There's like the Lab Series L5 that I owned for a while. The Vox Valve Reactor AC30, which I still love, and I would love to own one of them one day as well. The Valve Reactor AC30 I thought was stunning. The one I demoed. Like I say, there's always the Super Bass, the old Plexis. I do like Super Reverbs and stuff like that, but again, coming back to kind of amps that really exceeded my expectations, those, you know, the CR120 was like, this is incredible, and then the Boss Katana was like, this is incredible, and then, like I said, we were just on par with my MG. The MG to me is my perfect amp, you know, it just is. I can't fault it. yeah, everything about the MGs is awesome. I love the reverb, I love the inbuilt effects, I love the dirty channel, the OD1, OD2. I like the crunch channel and the clean channel. I love the volume, I love the FDD. It's awesome. Whereas I do have certain like picky little faults with the Katana and the CR, but they're still the amps that are kind of like, right up there with the MG for me. And finally, you asked for a 4x12 half stack, what would you say is the perfect wattage? 100. Coming back to that again, 100 watt half stack. You just can't beat it. It's there's something about it. Even when, like I said, even when you're running it quiet, there is something to be said for a 100 watt half stack. And I gigged with a half stack. The last gig I did with a half stack. And I'd been gigging constantly for the last 2 years with my Katanas, pretty much. Maybe about a year and a half with my... No, it was definitely about 2 years. With my Katanas. And as soon as we struck up into our first song, which was Killing Floor, Jimi Hendrix's version of Killing Floor, I was like, I've missed this. I had my MG half stack, 100 watt, and I was just like, that is just it. There is just no beating the feeling of a 412 and a 100 watt amp. There is just no, to me anyway. Again, this is my own opinion, because you do find a lot of people who prefer lower wattage amps and just like to crank them up. Mike Campbell from Tom Petty's band, he used to use like what was it? I think he had a Princeton, like just a blackface Princeton or something, and there was a Tweed amp. I forget what it was, but they're really low wattage amps, and he just basically used to dime them. And just kind of like, just do that. But whereas I don't do that. I like big power amps and just kind of like, run them quiet and get everything from pedals. But I like the volume that they have. I like the power. I like running really powerful amps at low kind of thing. There's something about the interaction that I've really, really enjoyed. I've always loved the sound. It's always been really fat and warm and, but it still cuts. It's really, really cool. And yeah, for a 412 half stack, the perfect wattage for me is 100 watt. That's what I would always recommend. 50 is cool, 25 is cool, 30 is cool, but 100 watt is the ultimate for me. Anyway, in my opinion, for whatever that's what kind of worth kind of thing. I just love 100 watt amplifiers. I always go back to 100 watt. The 50 watt Katana was awesome, but as soon as I got my 100 watt Katana, I was like, no. I won't be using the 50 other than a backup, just in case I need to, unless it's a really small venue and I can't get the 100 in. Not that the 100 is massive, but some of the venues I play, you've got the size of a matchbook to set up in, so, the 50 comes in perfectly handy there. And then you still don't feel like you're playing for a low wattage amp, it still kicks like 100. But when I can use the 100, I'll always use the 100. It's just, there's something in 100 watt amps, I just love it. I absolutely love it. So I hope that answers the question. I'm going to move on to question 3 now. Question 3 is, what's your thoughts on hip-hop music? I like some of it, but it's never kind of like big on my list of music. It's not really my kind of music, you know what I mean? I do love some of it. I do like some hip-hop music. I don't really listen to it, but I do like some of it. If somebody's got it on, I can appreciate it, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where I can definitely appreciate it for what it is and for kind of like, and why people like it. I can understand why people like it. For me, it's not knocking on the back door of my John Frusciante, Jimi Hendrix, Rory Gallagher records and stuff like that. It's just never gonna beat that for me, because it just, although I do like the sound of it and I love some of the beats are wicked, and I've always kind of wanted to incorporate some of that with guitar. So it's kind of like, it's something I always kind of want to do, and kind of crossbreed the two. And although I do like it, it's kind of like, I always say this, and I probably sound like a bit of a broken old record, but for me to really enjoy music and to really connect with music, it has to kind of go in. So it can't just kind of like go into my ears and me hear it and understand it. It's got to go inside me. You know what I mean? I've got to feel it deep within me to kind of go, whoa, now that's doing something to me. You know what I mean? It's affecting me on an emotional level. It's really kind of like, affecting me. And that's really important for me with music, is when I don't feel that, I can be a bit blasé about it. It's not me being narrow-minded. It's just that, like, I know what I like, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I suppose there is a bit of narrow-mindedness to it, but it is kind of one of those things of, like, you know, if it doesn't reach me internally, then I'm not. If it doesn't do that, I'm less inclined to listen to it again. You know what I mean? Somebody actually posted a band. What was it? I don't know. I was doing a video the other day on this guitar, which you can see here, the SG, which you'll see on Friday. Well, you'll see the preliminary video with it on Friday. I'm not going to tell you any more about it at this point in time, but yeah, anybody who spotted the SG in the corner, yeah, I have an SG now, and I love it. It's so cool, and I'll tell you more about it on Friday because I've got a video about it. So where was I? Yeah. So anyway, I was posting some videos on my Facebook and Instagram playing the SG, playing loads of different things. I was playing some System of a Down stuff, some Black Sabbath stuff, and some bits and pieces with the SG. You know, SG inspired music. And somebody posted a band, and they said, "Oh, have you heard of these guys before?" And I was like, "No." And I thought, "Oh, click on the link." You know, I'm always open to listen to anything, but like I say, it has to affect me. Anyway, it was a band called God is an Astronaut, and I'd never heard of them before. They've been around for a long time, but I've never heard of them before. And I was like, okay, click on it. And the song was, what is it? Always, I forget the name of the song, because I'll tell you what, I am terrible with song titles. Like, I know what songs go like, I can hum it, but I can't name it. I'm useless. I'm absolutely useless with it. Let's try not play any because we don't want to get copyright flag, do we, Davey? Always Violent, Always Bright. And that, so this guy said, "Oh, have you heard of these?" And I was like, "No." So I put that on, and within 5 seconds, it just was like, vroom, it was just engulfed me. And I was like, this is amazing. And literally, since that day, they're all I've been listening to. Apart from, obviously, you know, I've been listening to like John Frusciante and you know, stuff like Jimi Hendrix and stuff like that. My usual kind of like playlist. But God is an Astronaut, they just smacked me right in the face. And there's another song called Epitaph. And I was like, oh my good gravy, this is just insane. And I was just like, I had them on for about 3 hours straight last night. I was just like, I was just lying down on my bed and was just getting drenched in it, just enjoying it. And I was like, this is incredible. And that's when music will stay with me. Like, I will never not listen to them now. You know what I mean? That is, and I highly recommend checking them out. If you haven't heard God is an Astronaut, seriously, go and check them out. They are absolutely incredible. And I watched a live video of them, was it yesterday or the day before? I forget. But I watched a live video of them playing like Rock Palast, and I was just like, oh, I've got to see these live. I've got to see them live. So that's going to happen in the future because they're absolutely they've blown my mind. Absolutely blown my mind. And it's just given me a massive inspiration. You know what I mean? It's just kind of kicked me into kind of like, I want to do something like that. You know, it's really awesome. So where was I? So yeah, back to hip hop music. Yeah, sorry. Like I say, it's not something that really, you know, I can enjoy it if it's on, but it's not something that's kind of like that'd be my kind of go to, if you know what I mean. I can enjoy it if it's on, but and I wouldn't tell someone to turn it off, but it's not really my kind of style that I would listen to, really, to be honest with you. So yeah. But I do love some of the beats. Some of the beats are wicked. Some of the old hip hop beats are so cool. And I just love it, and I just love what you can do with them. They're so cool. And the rhythms are so cool. I love it. So yeah. But like I say, it's not knocking on the back door or something, things like that. So anyway, I hope it's answered the question. Moving on to question 4. Question 4 is kind of in the same vein. Somebody asked, "What's your opinion on Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown?" Exactly the same thing as hip hop, really. It's like when I first came aware of him a long time ago, and well, not a long time ago, but quite a while back, and he popped up on Instagram with his pink Stratocaster, and I was like, oh, he's really cool, really good guitarist, and I looked into it, and I watched a rig rundown on Premier Guitar's channel with him, and he's a really, really awesome guitarist, you know, really great guitarist, and you know, but it didn't do anything for me. You know, if I watch John Frusciante play, or Jimi Hendrix, or Dave Gilmour, or Peter Green, well, you can't watch Peter Green play that much, sadly, but if you listen to those kind of guitarists, they do certain something, or Andy Timmons, or people like that. They have a certain, to me, they have a certain connection that's really high up, like really, like it transcends you just being really good at the guitar. You know what I mean? It kind of goes above, oh, I'm an amazing guitarist, which, you know, that Tyler is definitely an amazing guitarist. But there's a feel that's kind of like, you know, it isn't there for me in his playing. You know what I mean? It's quite hard to explain. I'm not putting him down because he's absolutely stunning guitar player. He really is awesome, and I appreciate what he does, and I can really kind of like appreciate what he does because it's really, really cool, and I like the sound he's got, and he uses orange amps, so it's really cool. And he uses Strats as well, which makes me even more happy. Sucker for anyone who plays a Strat. Anyway, but yeah, so where was that? But yeah, the connection he has with the guitar is not a connection that appeals to me, that clicks with me. You know what I mean? He's an awesome guitarist, but like, the connection that I feel when I'm watching like someone like Andy Timmons or whatever is not the connection. He's got with the guitar, and as a result, it doesn't connect with me. If you know what I mean. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like, you know, I wouldn't go out and buy the album. I wouldn't listen to them. You know what I mean? I'd probably every now and again kind of like look into it and kind of like maybe if something kind of popped up on YouTube recommended, I'm like, oh yeah, why not? Let's put it on. But it's not something I would actively seek out to listen. He's not something I would actively seek out to listen to. You know what I mean? There's not. Again, his music goes in there to there. It never engulfs me. It never kind of goes in. And although it is really cool music, it doesn't do it for me. It's and again, this is just my opinion. Though this is you know, we've all got our own opinions on how music and affects us and what we like. But for me, I always love to listen to music that takes me on an emotional journey, instead of you know, makes me really feel it, and just kind of like, you know, you can just really get drenched and drown in it. You know what I mean? In a really good way. It just engulfs you. It's like, you know, it's like someone throwing water over you. You know, it really does that, instead of just kind of somebody like throwing like a shot glass of water in your face. You know, it's not to say that what these other people do isn't any good, because it is. It just, for me, it just doesn't connect on that level, whereas I really need music to connect on that level for me, because if it doesn't, then I tend to just kind of like, it just goes, you know what I mean? Something has to affect me immediately, and when it doesn't, it doesn't log in my brain, you know what I mean? Like, you know, this God is an astronaut stuff is just kind of, just immediately smack me in the face, and you know, I just ding it. But yeah, I mean, Tyler Bryant and Shakedown, I mean, they are really good, but again, they're not really kind of my kind of thing, you know what I mean? The music's great and the guitar playing is stunning, but for me, it's not, you know, like I say, again, not knocking on the back door of my John Frusciante or Jimi Hendrix records or anything like that. So I hope that's answered your question. I've rambled on about that quite a bit. So moving on to question 5 now. So question 5 is, I have an Orange CR35 RT that I use at low down bedroom volumes. Do you think it's better to use a Boss SD1 into the clean channel for distorted sounds, or should I just use the amp? I don't know. I mean, all I can recommend there is just try both and see which one you prefer the best. You know what I mean? Personally, if I was to do it, I think I would use the pedal, because again, I like getting my sound from pedals. I think I'll just run the amp clean-ish, and then I'd stick the Boss pedal over the top of it for distortion. But try both. You know, try both. Just see which one you prefer the sound of at that level. And just see which one appeals to you more, and you'll know which one it is, because, you know, it'll just all of a sudden it'll click in you, and in you, and you'll just be like, oh yeah, that's the one. I like that one more, and then just kind of go ride with that one, really. For me, like I say, if it was me, I would use the SD one, but like I say, I mean, that's just me. I would much prefer to say to you to try both. See which one appeals to you more, than just kind of like doing kind of maybe what I would recommend. Just try both and see which one you prefer. Like I said, I would definitely use the Boss pedal. For me, that would be how I would do it. That was quick. That was really quick. It freaks me out when I answer questions really quick. Okay, so final question, everybody. Question 6. I do answer question 5. Okay. The fear is upon me again, everybody. Question 6 is: do you have a day job, or do you make a full-time living off YouTube and making music? And also, what are your thoughts about making a career in music in 2019? Okay, so I'm not sure if I've answered this question before, but I think I have. But I thought I'll do it again because it's a very interesting, it's a very interesting question. Do I make a living off YouTube and music? Just, and I am literally saying just. I don't make a comfortable living off this. It's a scraping living. You know what I mean? I don't live in my own house, so I'm kind of lucky there. I live with my dad, so I don't have, this isn't my own place, so because I can't, again, if I was, I'm lucky in that way, because if I was to have to move out into my own place, I wouldn't be able to do this. I would just have to stop. So I'm lucky at this point in time. My dad has always kind of like encouraged me to do this, and he just backs me. So I'm lucky where I am. You know what I mean? But the living I make is just keeping my head above water. It's not comfortable, and I have to be careful about. Careful with finances more than anything. I've got to be careful because I do have things to pay for outside of music. I've got my van. I've got fuel. I've got all sorts of other stuff to pay for, phones. And all sorts. We all know. So what I do get a month from Patreon, YouTube, and other bits and pieces that I do, just about keeps my head above water. But it's not like I can sit back and relax, comfortable living. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm kind of like kicking my feet back and just kind of relaxing all day and this and the other. No, I work a lot to keep this going, and I'm really determined to kind of like really push this, because this is what I want to do with my life. I want to make music and create music and live by making music. That's all I want to do, and that's all it's all I'm good at. I can't do anything else. So because it's all I want to do, I don't really care for anything else either, really, to be honest with you. So do I have a day job? No, I don't. I mean, this is all I want to do. It's like what Jeff Buckley said. Jeff Buckley said in an interview, he said he wanted to be a musician. So why would he try and put effort into doing anything else if that's what he wanted to do? And I'm exactly the same kind of brain pattern. Is I want to be a musician, and I want to be, playing music for the rest of my life. So why would I focus on anything else? I've got no fallback. If this music thing falls through, I'm in a lot of trouble. You know what I mean? I'm in a lot of trouble there. There's no plan B to any of this. This is there is only plan A. So I am aware of that, and it does scare me. But it makes me more driven, knowing that. You know what I mean? It pushes me further, because I'm like, right, okay, I know what I've got to do. I've got to make this work. I've got to work at it, and I've got to give it everything I've got, because otherwise it won't happen. This is why I do so many videos. This is why I'm constantly trying to do something. You know what I mean? I'm constantly recording music or getting it up on YouTube, or doing 3 videos or 4 or 5 videos. If I could do a video every day, I would, but I can't, sadly, because of certain things, certain life things I've got to kind of like get through, and sadly that's the thing. But I do just about make a living. But again, it's because of where I am, because I'm a lucky bean, and because I live with my dad, who's really supportive of what I do. So I am lucky in that way. Like I say, and I am aware that, and this is a bit of a weird thing to say, but I am aware that it could all end tomorrow, because it's one of the music in this day and age, and this comes down to that last part of your question, making a career in music these days is really difficult. Talking to my friend Ian, James Stewart, about this, and he said he feels sorry for kind kind of my generation and generations coming up, because we are not privy and we are not kind of we are not given access to the kind of music business that was there when he was coming up. You know what I mean? Like his first album, he got to mix it in Pete Townshend's studio. You know, and he got to go on tour with all these bands and stuff like that. And the record company was behind him all the way, which was really, really cool. Whereas these days, it doesn't work that way. And I saw a really cool interview with Frank Zappa recently, which was very interesting and eye-opening. And he was talking about how the music business used to be and how it is now. And he was saying, like, back in the day, the music business was run by these, like, you know, these old kind of, like, you know, business tycoon kind of people who would smoke cigars and stuff like that. And you know, somebody would bring a band to them, and they'd be like, yeah, okay, we'll give them a chance. Throw a bit of money at it and see if it works, and if it doesn't, then it doesn't. Whereas he said nowadays it's run by more hip people who are more kind of like keyed into what the music scene is, and because of that, there aren't the chances that there used to be. You know, I personally don't feel that, like, you know, bands like a lot of bands that were kind of like, you know, iconic bands would be able to make it in this day and age. I just don't feel it. I don't believe it for 1 second. The music industry is a very... It's always been a cruel mistress, but it's definitely even crueler now than it ever has been. There's that great quote from Hunter S. Thompson about the music industry that's kind of like... you know, I forget what it is. It's a brilliant quote. Let me see if I can find it quick. But yeah, I mean, like I say, making a career and a living out of music these days, you have to do everything. You have to be able to teach. You have to, you know, you have to be able to gig. You have to be able to be a session guy. You have to be able to kind of like help write songs. You know, you have to be able to put your hand to anything and everything. You need to play multiple styles as well. I mean, this is it's kind of key, really, because the more you can do, the more you kind of maybe going to get picked. But again, also it does come down to how you look. When I went to study music in London in 2007 to 2008 in the Institute of Contemporary Music in London, the cold, horrible, hard reality of the music industry set in for me, because I was told that even if I went to an audition for a band and I went in and I aced it, I absolutely aced the audition. I played the songs perfectly and this, that and the other, but then a guy comes in who's better looking than me but can't play as well and isn't as confident, goes up there and plays through the songs and gets through it, they'll pick him because he looks better. And that's the way the music industry is kind of going. And because of I look the way I look, you know, it doesn't matter about kind of like, you know, thing, but you've got, you know, you're not going to get picked for things. But kind of I came to terms with it and accepted it. It's like, well, I'm just going to be who I am then. If I'm not going to get picked for it because of the way I look and the way I want to be, then screw it. I'll just be who I am. I don't want to be some fake human being that, like, you know, changes his entire look just to get kind of work. It feels wrong to me. It's like lack of integrity, and I don't like the idea of doing that, so I'm not going to do that. Hence why I look like I do. You know, I look like I've just crawled out of a bin backwards, you know, but it's who I am. You know, this is when I go to a gig, this is what I wear. You know what I mean? You know, there was a time when I would wear a flowery shirt and stuff, but it was never comfortable for me to do it. I did it just because I kind of was trying to fit in, but it never felt comfy. You know, whereas now, if I am what I am. I like wearing what I like to wear. I like my, you know, my hair is what it is and stuff like that. And I just thought, well, if I'm not going to get picked for anything because I'm an ugly so-and-so, because, you know, I am. You know, I know I am. I'm very well aware of how I look. I have a very, you know, I understand this. And again, this all came from being in London and realising, like, you know, you're not going to get picked for these kind of things because you just don't look right. And even then, it's like my hair wasn't falling out at that point. You know what I mean? I had a full head of hair. You know, I wasn't wearing all black all the time. I've gone back into wearing all black because I enjoyed it. You know, because I like wearing all black. It just makes me feel happy. And I wasn't, I was a bit, I had a different, a little bit of a different wardrobe, not really, but, and, I just thought, well, I'm just going to be who I want to be. If I'm not going to get picked for anything anyway, then it doesn't make any difference. And I just thought over the years, I was like, no, I'm just going to stick to what I am. And I'm going to play the guitar the way I want to play the guitar. I'm going to aim for what I want to do. And just go that way and just be very true and honest to myself instead of kind of going, right, well, if I want to get this job, I've got to change my image. I've got to shave my head and I've got to do this and the other. And it's like, well, yeah, but then you're kind of sacrificing a part of yourself. You're not really being true to yourself. And why would you want to make yourself really uncomfortable and feel like you're not you? It's the Kurt Cobain quote, being somebody else is a waste of who you are. I think that's the line he used, which is so true. I think, is it being somebody... Trying to be somebody else is a waste of who you are. That was it. And, and that's very true. And I just thought, if I'm not going to get picked for session work because of the way I look, and I'm not going to get picked for studio session work because I'm dyslexic and can't sight read, then I'll just do what I want to do then. And I'll just try and push me as best I can. And I'm the world's worst salesman when it comes down to me. I can't plug myself at all. I'm so terrible at it. I mean, I just don't think anything I do is very good. So I'm always kind of pushing myself to get better and better and better, which I think is really good, but it can be quite destructive at the same time. You've got to be careful of it. Anyway, but coming back to that Hunter S. Thompson quote about the music industry, and, I don't know when this quote was, but he says this. He says, "The music business is a cruel and shallow money trench, a long plastic hallway where thieves and pimps run free and good men die like dogs." And there's also a negative side. That is one of my favourite quotes about the music industry that has ever been. And he's so on the money with that. And that was probably written, I don't know when he wrote that. I mean, that's a fairly long time ago. And he's so bob on with it. The music industry has always been nasty. It's just that these days it's more cutthroat than it ever has been. And, and it's just not... We're not open to the opportunities that our predecessors were. You know what I mean? I mean, Jethro Tull, you won't get a band like Jethro Tull these days. You won't get a band like Focus. You won't get a band like... you probably wouldn't get a band like Dire Straits. Because of the way Mark Knopfler looks and sings. I personally quite like Mark Knopfler's voice. I reckon it's really... it's him. And isn't that all that matters at the end of the day? It's like the same as Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan wouldn't have got anywhere these days. You would have never had Bob Dylan on a talent show singing like, times are a-changing. He'd been laughed off the stage. He'd been absolutely crucified for like what he was doing. Like, oh no, that's an absolute joke. Get out of it. Who do you think you are, kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, making a music career in 2019, 2018, 2017 is just ridiculously difficult. It's a struggle. It's just hard work. It's really hard work. But you've got to work nonetheless. If that's what you want, go for it. Because that's where I am. This is what I want. I want to make music. I want to make videos. I want to be able to perform music live, which sadly is really difficult. I can't get gigs. I have one gig left this year, and that's it. And I've got none booked for next year. I've got nothing. Because I can't find venues, that are willing to just give a chance, and I totally understand that. I mean, music's changing. The music industry is changing. Live music is changing, and it's really, really sad, and it's really, really worrying and particularly scary, actually, I think. But yeah, I don't know, people of Tube. But like I say, I mean, I'm lucky where I am, and I know I'm lucky, and every day I am grateful for where I am, and I'm grateful every day for all of you. I just, there is not a day goes by where I'm like, I take for granted where I am. There is just not a day, there is not a minute, there is not a second that I am like, just blasé about it. I am so appreciative of where I am and like what I get to do. And I will always be. I'm never going to take this for granted because this is all I want to do. So the fact that I can do it, and the fact that I've got people supporting me, all of you are out there supporting me, my family supporting me, my friends supporting me, is just incredible to me. And it's just like, you'd have to be a bit crazy to take that for granted, and I'm not gonna take it for granted. I am so humbled by everybody's support, and like I say, it's not an easy living that I do, and I do have to keep up doing free videos you know, if not more than that a week. But I enjoy it. This is what I want to do. So why would I kind of see it as a problem? But I do kind of like constantly kind of like, oh, what if this isn't good enough? What if the intro jam's not very good and this, that and the other? So I'm always pushing on myself to get better, find more inspiration, which I think is good. You know, it's making me grow as a guitar player and also as a songwriter as well. It's really strange. It's really, really cool. I'm really enjoying this whole process. It's just, but like I say, just be prepared. It's not easy, and you need so much support to do it. You know, you really do. You need the support. Without support on your own, you can't do it. It's impossible. This is why I always say this channel will be nothing without all of you watching, because that to me is totally true. I can put videos out all day long, but if nobody's there to support me doing it and watch them, then they're just going to fall on deaf ears. You know what I mean? It's all of you lot that make this channel what it is. You know, and it's all of you that this channel's for, but I dedicate all my time to, because you're all really important to me. You know, massively important to you. You're such a huge part of my life now that, you know, I will do everything I can and all that's in my power and all that's within me to, you know, to give you 100% every time. I never ever just kind of like phone it in. I can't do that. And that would be wrong for me to do that, and I can't do that, and I'm not going to ever do that. If I'm not exhausted by the end of an intro jam, because I am always exhausted after an intro jam, it always takes its toll on me one way or another, like either mentally or physically. The intro jam on Monday with the snake oil pedals drained me mentally, absolutely destroyed me mentally, absolutely destroyed me. Today was both. It was a physical and mental thing. There was something about it, and I was just like, this is just taking it out of me. And it's, you know, and after I filmed these videos, I am exhausted, you know, because I'm just trying to give everything I've got to these videos. I'd always try and I'm not phoning anything in. This is who I am. I want to give you everything that I am, and I don't want to lie. I want to be honest. I want to be brutally honest sometimes as well, because I don't see the point in just lying or not being true to who I am. It's just or lying to you. It's not cool. It's not cool. And I'm not going to do it. So if I think something's good, I'm going to say. If it's bad, I'll say it's bad. But the thing is, people say, "Oh, why don't you do bad reviews?" It's like I've done a couple bad reviews where I've had a go at something, the Marshall Code being one. But if I think something's bad, I won't review it. You know what I mean? I don't want to drag a product's name through the dirt just because I don't like it, because to somebody else could love it. You know. But anyway, I'm tangenting off on this crazy random thing, which I could talk about for hours more, but I'm running out of time on my memory card, and that's it. And I always stick to this memory card. This memory card can record 1 hour and 12 minutes, and I stick to this memory card because I was thinking of getting a bigger one, just so I could do longer videos, and I thought, no, stick to this one, Dave, because if you don't, your videos will end up like 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours long if you're not careful. So yeah. Anyway. But yeah, coming back to question 6 quickly, just as a recap, do I have a day job or do I make full-time living off YouTube and making music? Yes, I do, but it's just because I'm a lucky git and where I am and support and you lot out there and my Patreons. I've got to thank my Patreons as well, because again, every little helps, it really does, and it just keeps me able to do this. And again, I appreciate it to no end. I really do. It's like, you know, you all mean the world to me. And making a career in music in 2019 is possible, but you've got to work for it. You've got to dedicate yourself to it solely. You know, you've really got to be driven, and you've got to expect fallout, because there is going to be fallout. There is going to be certain things you're going to have to sacrifice to do it. You know, it will take a lot away from you. It will. So just be prepared. So anyway, so that's a question. I hope I've answered your questions okay. Like I say, if you want to submit a question for Q&A, in the description box below, there is an email link to submit questions to, and there's also a link to my website where you can submit questions to as well in the forums, as well as other links to my music and all that kind of thing. So I hope that's questions okay, everybody. I'll see you again on Friday, where we're going to be talking about this thing over here, which I love, and I will see you again then. Have a great morning, afternoon, and a good evening, and and goodbye now. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much. Goodbye now.